This movie's just so hard to wrap your mind around that I don't even know if it can be done in a single review, but I'm going to try my best. Try my best. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Cinematically Late, the series where I talk about movies that I haven't seen or missed for whatever reason. Now today we're talking about The Lighthouse, which stars Willem, Dafoe, and Robert Pattinson. Now this one just came out recently on Amazon Prime, which is the reason why I was able to watch it. I didn't really have any interest in it. I knew it had a lot of buzz around it, but there was just something about it that just kind of wasn't my vibe. But I decided to give it a chance one night, and to be quite honest with you, I'm kind of glad that I gave it a shot. Now, there's a lot of interesting things that are happening in this movie, a lot of different themes, a lot of things that can be interpreted in various ways. Now, I'm not going to go through all of that. I'm just going to kind of give you what I liked and didn't like about it, in the essence of trying to save some time, because there is a lot to unpack in this movie. Essentially, it's the story of Robert Pattinson's character going to an island to work in a lighthouse with Willem Dafoe's character, and essentially they're just kind of dealing with working their lighthouse job, I guess is the best way to say it. I don't even know what they're called. A lighthouse keeper is the best word. So essentially they're just repairing the lighthouse, making sure that it's staying functioning, essentially for a couple of weeks until they're supposed to get off. But there's a big storm and some things that happen throughout the course of the movie that change sort of what's going to be happening throughout I don't even know how to describe it. Their tenure, I guess is the best way to call it, while they're working in this lighthouse. So a bunch of strange things happen, but that's where it really starts to get up my alley, and that's where I'm going to start out with point number one, is the story. Now, this didn't seem from on paper like the type of movie that I would even want to watch. It looked like very much like a period piece, which it very much is, but I didn't expect it to kind of get weird and give me that like an interesting vibe to it. I just expected it to be two guys working a lighthouse talking about God knows what, and just not really being that interesting. But there is a lot of elements to this that totally disregard that. They kind of go off more of like lore in terms of like what sailors believe, different conversations that can be had, even just with two guys stuck on a rock or an island together, just doing this one sort of simple job, and how that sort of interaction happens. Now, the second point that I'm going to get to in a second all this kind of goes hand in hand. But the second point, which I'm going to go ahead and make now, is that the acting is absolutely impeccable. It's really only two characters, which is Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. They're absolutely amazing. I have really nothing bad to say about them. They're both weird in their own ways, but together they just work so well. And I know there's a big stigma, or not stigma, I should say, but something attached with Robert Pattinson being Batman. Willem Dafoe has kind of been like that sought-after type for a lot of fans to be the Joker. I don't think that's what's going to happen. Their age difference is just too vast for that to make sense. But that's not what this video is about. It's about the lighthouse. But their dynamic is absolutely great. They're the sort of old man and young man, and him sort of teaching him things, but also essentially treating him like shit for the most part. It was interesting, but it's very frustrating at the same time, seeing how he's essentially being beaten down, whether it be by the work or kind of verbally by his more or less superior on the island. So it's kind of a struggle to watch Robert Pattinson do all this hard work, and just to watch him do it has been absolutely insane. But I mean, that's probably how a lot of the trades were sort of passed down, is you had to do that hard labor in order to become the master, to pass that down again, to pass that hard labor to somebody else. And just kind of is like one of those things that you have to do it in order to learn it. But once you get to the next spot, then everybody else, you get to kind of treat them like shit and make sure that they kind of go through that same thing. It's kind of like the same with like, I don't even know the word for it. It's going to come later. I'm sure it'll be down in the comments at some point. But essentially just like a rite of passage is the best way to say it, even though it's not really a rite. It's just more like getting treated like shit for shit's sake. But I mean, he goes through some serious stuff, but their dynamic and back and forth is what drives the entire movie. Now, going back to point number one, which was the story, that crazy things that happened in this movie, I didn't see coming at all. I didn't really think that they would incorporate a lot of what they actually did incorporate, but it was that weird stuff that made me enjoy it a little bit more. And there is a lot of things to unpack in terms of what is actually happening, what is the underlying themes that the director and the writers are trying to give us here. Now, That's going to lead actually all the way back. We're going to circle back now to point number 3, which is the story and like the things that it had to present were just so out of left field, but also so satisfying to watch in a weird way. It was weird, but it just gave you this weird feeling. I guess that's what point number 3 is going to be. It's going to be feeling. This movie has feeling. And what I mean by that is like from the very first scene, it's kind of off-putting. Not necessarily in a bad way, but you just don't really know what the vibe is of the movie. And it's hard to sort of get on that beat because once you start to get like, okay, I understand what's happening, they'll sort of switch it up on you, giving you a whole new element to the story or different thing to focus on. And then that sort of like eats at your brain as you're sort of watching it as to will they circle back to that or will it be explained type of thing. So they do a very good job of giving you sort of like this off feeling for the entire movie, but at the same time giving you a feeling of the environment. Like you very much feel what's going on this island because it's very wet because of obviously it's on an island in the middle of the ocean, but it also is like crashing waves and there's a storm. There's a lot of feeling in this movie that I didn't really expect to get. For a number 1, a black and white movie, which was a bold choice. And number 2, it was shot with like that 4:3 aspect ratio where it's got like the sidebars, which I kind of liked. I liked that Grand Budapest Hotel, Wes Anderson movie, did that as well. Wasn't in black and white, but it just kind of gives a weird feeling to it, but it's also so hard to take your eyes away from it. How to describe this movie is just very hard without kind of giving anything away. But like I said before, I know there's a lot of sort of theories and themes and things that people are suggesting online as to what these things could mean. Again, this video is not about that, but if you do want to discuss it with me, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Also, while you're down there, if you like this video, make sure you leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, as we are on the road to 300 subscribers. I hope to get there, and I'm actually looking forward to doing a giveaway. I haven't decided yet if I want to do it 250 or 300, but if you want me to do a giveaway, make sure you drop that down in the comment section down below. But really, those are my thoughts on The Lighthouse. Like, it's so weird, but because it was so weird, I liked it just that much more. And I just had a really good time with it, even though it's not like a movie that I want to rewatch over and over, but I want to rewatch it just because of those little things that left it to be weird. Certain aspects of it I didn't really care for, but for the most part, I would say it's definitely worth watching, definitely worth checking out, especially if you're an Amazon Prime member. You can watch it essentially for free. And it's won like a shit ton of awards. So why not watch one of those big hyped up movies? It's clearly not on a big budget, but this was done by actually the same guy who did The Witch, which I didn't like that movie at all, which I was surprised that this was the same guy because both are weird. Both have that old style to it, and they speak in the old English and a lot of things like that. But this one just was a lot better for me. I don't know if it was the actors. I don't know if it was the storyline. It just captivated me a lot more and actually drew me in, whereas The Witch just had a hard time getting through that one. But like I said, I did enjoy it. Recommend checking it out. Make sure you let me know if you have seen it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section down below. Yeah, make sure you're subscribed as we do have a new Cinematically Late every single Thursday. Look forward to see you guys next week. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.